more hydration breaks. But the actual standard of the football from the teams that probably wouldn't have made it, that did get in, has been really good in terms of being competitive, being brave. So it's actually been a welcome addition. And then, you know, the World Cup only comes around every 4 years, so it has been nice. Even though from a player fatigue standpoint, we know exactly what that's going to do to a lot of the players that have had long seasons. From a fan perspective, it has been nice to have more games to watch. But I think from on the pitch standpoint, it's probably been my favorite tournament, bro. Because when all the stars, and I do mean pretty much all the top shelf stars, the top 1% of stars are turning up and are on that, you know, golden boot list and are fighting for, you know, their countries and leading their countries and showing the deficit between them and everybody else. Because we know Florian Wirtz, you know what I mean, and players like that have not really turned up to the party. But the guys that are the best in the world, that are, you know, expected to handle business for club and country and be the main man and be the focal point, they've actually mashed work. And that very rarely happens. I was looking through the all-time England goal scorer. I didn't even see no Wayne Rooney. On all-time England World Cup, I didn't see no Rooney. I see no Lampard. I'm like, raw. I'm seeing Bellingham right near the top. I'm seeing Kane at the top. I'm like, wow. You know, everybody, what's been going on all these years? Has nobody been participating? So it's mad. But yeah, man, I've really enjoyed it, man. It's been brilliant, I think, on the pitch.
I think you hit the nail on the head in that first thing you said quite rightly, so, and I make you right. Obviously, this World Cup, obviously, because it's in America, Canada, and Mexico, primarily focusing with the off-the-field stuff around America and fans not being able to get logistical problems, immigration issues, all of that kind of stuff. And I always say, of course, there's national security at hand and etc. But it's a world celebration. You know, if you don't want to welcome the world, there's no point hosting it. But when you get away from that, as you said, the smaller nations have delivered in a way, innit? Like, I think America gave a good account of themselves. You touched on it. You know, you look at someone like Norway, they have great individual players away from Odegaard and Haaland. So they had a great system. I feel Odegaard turned up. I feel Haaland defo turned up. It's one thing being the poster boy. It's another thing delivering. Jude Bellingham got a lot of stick from people like Craig Hope to saying don't bring him, etc., etc. He's a poster boy, and arguably he could be England's greatest ever World Cup player. Speaking of that, to see Kylian Mbappe, not just in this World Cup, well, obviously in this World Cup, what he's doing in the Golden Boot and everything of that ilk. But then you throw in, you know, 2018, 2022. Like, I think in my 31 years, Mbappe, pound for pound, has to be the best World Cup player I've ever seen. 20 games, 20 goals, etc., etc. You mentioned Harry Kane. I'll make you right with that. Obviously, I have to push agendas. Marino and Saka are frontlining. I think Rice is being thrown into the wolves. There's a couple players. Elise, for me, would be player of the tournament, if I'm brutally honest. I think Rabiot's had an underrated tournament. There's obviously players like Yamal you want to see a bit more from. He's turned up to the party, but you want to see a bit more. I do think it's getting there, in it. Like, I do think it's getting there. I don't know between 2022 and this one, which one I would say pound for pound has been the most entertaining, but it's been great. Like, obviously, the time schedule hasn't been kind to us in the United Kingdom, but those 2 a.m. kickoffs were filled with drama. We've seen penalty shootouts. We've seen the smaller nations, like people like Cape Verde, stand up to be counted. I think I think the international football, for me, it's mirrored kind of what we see at club level, in it, in that it's congested, it's compact, it's more about the systems rather than the individuals. Clearly, the individuals have made the difference, but I do think that's a level playing field. I think all the African teams have given a great account of themselves. I do think it's being engineered, and I thought it from early for a France versus Argentina final, etc. I do think Argentina are getting some booky decisions, but I'm actually right. Considering it's an expanded tournament, I think it's a good kind of poster for itself. The one thing I would say, and I share with what you said as an Arsenal fan, is the amount of games that my players have played going into this World Cup and will play after this World Cup, and obviously the knock-on effects that obviously Timber missed out of this World Cup because of injury. Saliba and Gabriel are having knocks. But you're an England fan, you're seeing like Rice on his last legs. Saka's minutes have to be judged. I don't know the word, but have to be like, we have to kind of manage minutes.
Yeah,
exactly. There. Like, then you got someone like Noni, who generally has done all right in this World Cup. When you start getting to the latter stages, he's kind of reverted back to type. So it's like, it's a weird one. So that leads me to ask you second question. Someone asked that, how do you feel about England, Argentina, and who do you think actually wins the World Cup of the 4 teams remaining, man? It's a madness,
bro. I mean, it's funny because at the start of the tournament, I said Spain, and that was purely because I didn't want to say France, because everybody was saying France. And France are clearly the best team in terms of what they've got options-wise. The centre-back partnership, Upamecano's had a very good tournament. That's Saliba, the attack. Obviously, France are the favourites for the semi-final, and obviously France are the favourites for the World Cup. But I just wanted to be different and try and come up with something
Go against
else.
the grain.
I thought Spain, so I think no one's really talking about Spain. I think Spain, they've got a very good midfield. I like some of the options that they've got, and I know that they've got some clutch players up front, and obviously Mikel Merino, you've mentioned one. So I think England against Argentina is just, there's so much history, bro. Like I'm usually more detached from England because I don't really be having a cry if they go out, because the PTSD at this point, like everybody expects England to disappoint in this country. Everybody expects England to underperform. But since Thomas Tuchel's gone in and the Chelsea factor's been added in, and online Tuchel gets a whole heap of slander, a whole heap of flack. No one really respects him. For me, obviously, what he did for my football club, I have the utmost respect. I love the guy because he had a massive connection with my fan base. And I think England fans are now starting to understand why we love Thomas Tuchel in terms of that connection. Because the connection that he's starting to hopefully build with England, and that obviously comes from winning and the press conferences and the interviews and how passionate he is and whatnot. After the early agendas of why isn't he singing, why isn't he doing this?
And he's German and this,
German, the squad selection. I'm like, listen, we ain't won anything since 1966. We've never won the Euros.
Way before our time.
Way before our time. I'm like, the nationality of the manager is very irrelevant right now. We need someone to win, and that's just about the height of it. I do actually think England can beat Argentina, and I think part of that comes from Argentina also looking a little bit, sus in this tournament. They've struggled to get past, Cape Verde, Egypt. In the last round, it took them to extra time. It's very clear that Argentina are not as good as I think they were in 2022. And I think Messi is even more relied upon than back then. Obviously, Alvarez has now turned up to the party finally with that long shot. Brilliant finish in extra time.
Brilliant finish.
Fantastic finish, But I think there was Di Maria. There was a more, forthcoming, important Alvarez in the previous tournament. I think this team is clearly just like even more Messi till we die. Like it's literally like, they're not even trying to win the World Cup for Argentina anymore. They're trying to win the World Cup for Messi. It's like, we need to give Messi this World Cup. We need to give Messi the second one. I thought you man were just doing that gimmick for the first.
Now it's gone too far now, man.
Now it's gone too far. It's like, you do realize you play for a whole Argentina, like a whole ass country with Diego Maradona and other So I don't know what's going on over there. Them man are a little bit tapped, but we need to beat them, man. We all know the history between England and Argentina, the hand of God. We know Argentina culturally, it's very sketchy in terms of, the racism.
They're the villains of the World Cup.
They're the villains. Like we have, the whole Messi thing is done now. I'll be like, he got his World Cup. I'm happy for him. Ronaldo has obviously failed to equalize. We move on. We know the GOAT discussion is over. Now, fuck Argentina. Like
facts.
All of them. All of them. You know what I mean? Like that's it now. We don't care anymore. The GOAT's got his World Cup. Fuck all of you, the rest of you. Like, no one cares about the rest of you. We need to beat them. We need to beat them. And it is well and truly war, bro.
It's one game away from a final, Matisse.
Yeah.
Like, one game.
For all the semi-finals and finals Southgate put us in, he ain't never put us in a World Cup final. And like I said, I used to be a little bit more detached. Whatever happens. But this World Cup, with the manager factor and just the fact that this team is very, very likable, he's picked a group of warriors. He didn't take Trent.
Even Dan Burn. I was criticizing that. I'm seeing the angle now.
Yeah,
I don't get Henderson, especially because he bust his hand, but everything else makes sense.
But you know what? It's all warriors, bro. It's people that he can depend upon. He thinks that from a mentality standpoint are going to check in and not check back out. And when the going gets tough, they're gonna go tougher. And you look at Spence coming in instead of a Trent.
Last two games done very well.
Absolutely. You look at the inclusion of Dan Burn and not Maguire. Maguire goes and does an interview immediately. People are like, "Oh, Matisse, you need to stick up for Palmer and Foden more, especially Palmer. He plays for Chelsea." I'm like, I'm sorry, but Palmer, he's been irrelevant this season.
I can't lie, he should be there, but
from an option standpoint. But then you know what happens then? It's like the media, why is Palmer not playing? Blah, blah, blah. He's not interested in none of that.
They tried to correct that after Jude Bellingham the other day.
Bro, even now, they tried to make a circus out of some quotes that on both sides are fine, but you're not giving each other, you're not giving Bellingham the full context.
You're remixing it and creating division.
Absolutely. For the headlines, for the clicks, for the articles. They're not interested in the success. And this is the thing. Tuchel made it very clear the performance was not up to scratch, which I agree with. I don't think the performance was great.
No one can disagree with that.
But the heart mentality, the fight, the grit, the determination was there. And even the reporter was trying to question that. And then they go and tell Bellingham half, but not the full story. They are they are begging for an England exit because they know an England exit is a great storm and a great talking point
They
and
bottled it.
frenzy.
German manager, he's not better than Southgate. Yada yada yada.
Absolutely.
Like the headlines write themselves, you know.
Hey, bro, it's easy to write these ones. Southgate was likable from an England standpoint because he's come through the under-21s and he's brought the young players through. Yeah, they're ready to dunk it on Tuchel from day dot. And the thing is that because they're not able to do that, they're trying to create that friction and trying to manufacture it. And this is why I think he has brought maybe Madueke instead of Palmer, and he has brought, you know, Chalobah and players that are just knowing their role and are coming in to just do impact and maybe tire someone out before Saka comes on, does more calculated,
play in your position,
play your position. And right now it's working. I think the team was always set up for maybe a more transitional game as well. And that's maybe why against the low block teams we didn't really see the best of us. Maybe against Croatia and, you know, Mexico, that's where we get more goals, more fun. But I think he's played a masterstroke, bro, for most of it. I did disagree with some of the squad selections, but at the end of the day, he's the most intelligent, qualified manager we've ever had. So I'm still going to back what he's doing and just go with it. And yeah, man, if England dare beat Argentina and go to this final and dare do anything after that, boy.
Yeah, boy. Then you got, you know what, Matisse? I do think we can beat Argentina. I think with Argentina, I think international football, full stop, it comes that like it's just about pride, innit? Tactics, all that thing is relevant, but it's just about moments and clutch moments. And that's why someone like Jude Bellingham, I couldn't understand the nonsense. I can understand the criticisms, but like not the nonsense, like not take him and things like that.
Yeah,
he always stands up to be counted. When I look at Argentina, as you said, it's bordering on weird in that I get it that you want to win for Messi, but you should want to win for yourselves. You should want to retain it for yourselves. You should want to do it for the whole of Argentina. Clearly, I believe they believe that, but all the language is around Messi. So I do think tactically off the ball will be even. I do think it comes down to moments and passion and grit and determination and all that kind of jazz. A bit like, I remember you said it. You said it when we was doing the TalkSport thing. It's that you can't really stop Haaland from scoring, just control the other factors. That's how I'm kind of looking at Lionel Messi. I do think we need to kind of be perfect. And I agree with Tuchel in that on one hand, yeah, we're through. It's tournament football. By hook or by crook type of thing, you don't really care. I don't think the performance was generally there for 90 minutes. I think the first 45 minutes was kind of boring. Yes, we got through, but it needs to go up several gears. If it is to our maximum, I think we've got a great chance. Now, whether we play, assuming we do that, whether we play a Spain or a France, it's a whole different ball game. You're at the business end, and you could argue all four countries could win it. You could argue all four countries could flatter to deceive, because I don't really feel there's been a perfect team. I feel some teams have had more moments than others. I think certain people got systems. I think this World Cup is, I think I've said this to you before. I think every player is a system player, right? Because there's a system that enhances them and makes them look a lot better than they might be. You're seeing it with kind of Portugal, and then you're seeing it positively with what we've got going on. But I just feel the system's in place. The only thing I would say with Tuchel is I criticized his a lot of his selections. I was happy with a lot of them. I was in particular happy with, I know Ivan Toney and Watkins ain't really played like that, but I like the fact that he brought those kind of options. But I did, you know, the Dan Burns, the Jordan Hendersons. I wasn't as heavy on Spencer's them lot, but Jed Spence, etc. Calling up Chalobah when Livermento's missed out. But I can say, I'm not going to say I can understand all of them, but you've utilized everybody in their roles appropriately. If I had to be super critical, it would be the lack of use for Kobe Mainoo. But then I could advocate and say, in my heart of hearts, if I was Tuchel, when has the game state like pandered towards bringing on a Mainoo? I'd be kind of forcing it. The one thing I did say with Tuchel is, because big up Southgate, you know, again, I know he didn't win anything and whatnot, but as a 31-year-old man, when we had the golden generation, you know, we had the stars at your club, at my club, at United, etc. They didn't do anything. All they did is moan that, I'm an Arsenal player, so I can't get on with the Chelsea youth. The Liverpool ones couldn't get on with etc. innit? I feel this period under Tuchel, under Southgate, apologies, while we haven't won anything, it's probably been some of the best times as an England fan for me as a 31-year-old man, because we've been getting to the latter stages. So when I looked at Tuchel, I rate you a lot higher, you know, than Southgate as a manager. Obviously, you've never managed a country before, yada, yada, yada. But I do rate you. I do rate the fact that one thing I'll give Germans is they don't really do the name brand thing, pandering towards calling up media. It's, I've got this idea in my head. You lot are the recipes for the and ingredients for that meal. If you're not that, I'm not going to add it in it. He's done that kind of thing. The one thing I did say, though, if you don't win it, and I'm being a bit harsh in the World Cup, and admittedly, when we got Tuchel, bro, I was more thinking towards the Euros of 28.
Yeah.
But if you don't win it, for me, it's a failure, innit? Because as much as I don't necessarily rate Southgate, bro, you've got to two finals in the World Cup quarters. if we're not gonna get over the line, it's a bit kind of dead. Obviously, with Tuchel, I don't feel you should get sacked regardless of what's happened. You've got to a semi-finals in your first kind of taste as an international manager. It kind of is what it is. I do think we're looking a bit wary. I do question that. I do think you have to go Elliot Anderson and Rice, but I do wonder if there's a bit of other variety and flavor in that regard. But it kind of is what it is, man. It's difficult because Mbappe could, Mbappe is scored along with France. You've got Argentina with the mentality monsters. I do feel for myself, as much as I rate Spain. It's not that I've been underplaying them, but I don't think I've been throwing them in the conversation that much, in which they'll pass you to death, score those clutch goals. But it's in the business end of the season, man. It's like it's a weird one. Like, I wanted to ask you about, like, finally on the World Cup, like, what do you think it's done for the reputation of certain players? Because I feel going into this tournament, not everyone was convinced on Jude Bellingham. They're all waxing lyrical. I feel there were some people that got onto Kylian Mbappe. You're kind of seeing what he brings to the table, and there's many other, like, players we could do that with. Like, what do you make of that?
Bro, I think it's done wonders. I really do for those players in particular. I think Haaland as well.
Haaland as well, yeah.
But the fact that it's not Man City and it's not Kevin De Bruyne and it's not Bundesliga highline, it is now Norway against Brazil.
The lights are bright.
It's Norway. You know what I'm saying? Like, there is no Zlatan. He was saying in his own analysis and commentary, he went to 2 World Cups, never scored a goal. At the end of the day, now there's no cover up for why he's just that good in terms of getting the goals. He just does what he does. It doesn't matter where he is, who he's playing for. I think he's done wonders, bro, because I think, and I've been guilty of it as well. I think there's been, obviously, the nostalgia is obviously there for us at our age, and football in the early 2000s and in the 2010s, and the quality of the players back then, the individualism of the players back then, the variety of the amount of players in the 10 position. The wingers used to be able to dribble a higher quantity
strikers
of them,
as well,
more strikers. And I don't think we were wrong. I think a lot of the time when we say these things to maybe this generation of football fan, I think it's correct, because when you do go back and look there, it kind of speaks for itself, and it has become more systematic. But it was nice to be reminded that we actually do have some stars right now that we need to appreciate more and talk about more. Mbappe is quite literally shitting on every single individual's World Cup records ever. Like, and he's doing
20 games, 20 goals,
bro. That's it. Like, end of convo with him. 3 World Cups, 3 different positions. First one was on the right wing, mash work. Second one on the left wing, mash work. This one up front, mash work. And always gone to finals. 2 out of 2 for that. On the way to a third, even if he was to go out of semi-final again, most players and most nations, they don't have those type of records. 3 for 3. The guy's a freak, bro, and he's just come off a mad season with Madrid. I know from the overall perspective, the conversation is you didn't win anything at Madrid. PSG just won the Champions League back to back. You're the dictator. You're the issue. Politics. But at the end of the day, he's showing the quality as to why we talk about who should that team be built around, and it is him.
Your conversations off the back of this World Cup,
it's crazy, bro. Because when you give him the keys, bro, he drives the car. That's it. He
drives it very well.
He drives it very well. I like the way he drives. You know what I mean? So, and that, Elise is another one. I think Elise,
player of the tournament.
What a player! What a tournament! The fact that he was in the Premier League all that time and no one else was able to kind of get him over the line. Chelsea tried, failed, got taken.
Yeah, you lot tried. What could have been?
Bro, he is a phenomenal player. Ballon d'Or level talent. There's nothing this guy can't do. And the way that he plays the game, the way that he kind of just, nonchalantly just handles himself. He's not fazed by pressure. He doesn't get worked up. He doesn't worry. He just lets his football do the talking. The technique, the quality is just there to be
raises his levels when the levels get higher. You saw that Palace, don't get me wrong, but Bayern Munich, next level. France, first World Cup, next level.
Yeah. He at some point, he is going to be a Real Madrid player, I think, because
it's going to be crazy. Football can't let that happen, man.
He's just quite clearly that level. He's quite clearly that club. Do you know what I mean? I think he's just ridiculous. So they'd love him over there. And then, I think obviously, like you said, Jamal's still got to turn up. But Jude, there was genuine conversations, and I'm not an overrater of Morgan Rogers anyway. So thank God I'm not got a clip on my head. But there was genuine conversations. I'd hate to have a clip on my head. Jude Bellingham shouldn't start. Morgan Rogers should. Are you mad?
Well, there was things people saying he shouldn't even be on the plane, bro. Madness.
If this is not Premier League bias, I don't know what is. This is the clearest evidence of Premier League bias I've ever seen in my life. A whole ass Jude Bellingham is we're talking about
with a CV for England previously as well, you know.
Bro, it's just exactly. It's not even like you haven't even seen what he's capable of doing for England. The guy has just, again, forget the moments where, okay, the low block, but the touch is a bit heavy. He does not let the game die. This is a guy that is inevitable, that is determined.
You've always got a chance with him.
Put England on serious shit. Like every other England player that I've watched in my life, no matter what the quality is, I could see it in their eyes that they were capable of letting us go home. They were capable of letting us go out of a tournament, because if the circumstances or the conditions are not in their favor, if it's not going right,
it's dark.
It's dark. Like they're not gonna find a way. They're not gonna, they're not gonna press that lever. They're not gonna switch it. They're just gonna it's just gonna peter out.
They're gonna come to reality.
Yeah, Bellingham's not on that. He says, listen, by hook or by crook, we're going somewhere.
We're rolling. You have to kill me if you don't want me to forward to the next round. And he always delivers.
And you know what is that? I do think the love that he has for England and the England fans have for him, I think partly of that is that he's only played for Birmingham in England. He's not played for Liverpool, Man United, and Arsenal, and Chelsea. So there's no agendas. It's just pure love, because he's at Real Madrid. He's out of sight, out of mind. And when he comes to England, we could just fully back him, fully support him. Even Lee Judge is like, we all see the jokes of him not celebrating when Harry Kane scores. There's none of that with Bellingham,
there's none of that. Yeah,
we don't have to worry about none of that. Saka, he's an Arsenal player. Right? We don't have to worry about that.
Jude should be the golden boy.
Yeah, but with Bellingham, the guy just delivers. He just delivers. And for me, bro, the fact that he's a box-to-box midfielder as well, and I'm seeing him make those tackles against Mexico, and I'm seeing him do those dribbles and drive the ball through three players.
He's a complete midfielder when you look at it.
And then he's box crashing. It's like, that also plays a part as to, he is not letting anything slip. Because
even some of the tackles he's made in the games he's got braces, that's what's going to be in the highlights. But them things there are as important. And I think with Jude Bellingham, I think people that understand football knows that, park off the media, this Jude Bellingham's not going to be the first nor the last England player that they kind of big up, tear down, start agendas pre-tournament, still running it during the tournament. And then these same sick individuals who chatted a lot of shit will be the ones bred into the highest extent, yeah? I think Jude Bellingham's a player like, let's just say you're Jude Bellingham and I'm another character and we've got Tuchel. Tuchel might shout at me, dig me out in the press, and I might turn into a shell. I might see it as, you're getting on to me sort of thing. You can tell Jude Bellingham is one of those footballers. You can push a bit, you can nibble at a bit, you can kind of piss off a bit, but it gets a positive reaction. And I can tell Tuchel and Jude is from a place of love. I might hate you in the moment. I might not like what you're saying, but I know it's from a place of love. And when I remove my ego, if I'm Jude, Tuchel wants to win this thing. If I'm Tuchel, he wants to win that thing. This is where I even look at, don't get it twisted, I did think Morgan Rogers was going to play more of a prominent role, just because, I did think Jude might play, I know Elliot Anderson and Rice throughout the whole qualifying they played, but I did think Jude would play a bit more deeper with that license to go forward, and Rogers did play a key role. I never fed into it would be Jude or Rogers, but I did think Rogers would play more of a significant role. But I think when you flip it and look in hindsight, clearly Tuchel knew, maybe it's because of Real Madrid, no one's really doing it. Maybe he wasn't happy with Jude's performances during the build-up to the World Cup and felt there was more to give. Maybe he was happy and he just, how managers, they're sickheads. I felt he was just ribbing him and digging into him to get this kind of reaction. And you can see the fruits of the labor in it, because in the last two games, no Jude Bellingham, we're going home. I do think Mexico was a general good performance. I don't think we were that good against Norway. I think we should have been much better, and I make Tuchel right. But fundamentally, we went through, and who really cares? Jude Bellingham's re-announced himself. The problem is, Matisse, as you know, regardless of how this pans for England, did we come to the Euros or we get back into club football, and the agendas from the same individuals who have been served with humble pie isn't going to stop in it. So, yeah, man, it'd be interesting. I've got some more questions for you, as we move on. There's some questions around like content creation and that, innit?
Yeah.
Someone asked me to ask you, when did football content stop feeling like a hobby and become a career? It's a good question, I must admit.
It's a great question. I don't let it become that on my channel, actually. And I've been very, very cautious and very, very clear to not let that be the case. Obviously, behind the scenes, I would never have got to where I'm going or where I'm at right now without help from thumbnail designers, from Skullfuggery, who does all of my kind of production. Big him up, that guy's editing. Funny, man. Bro, he's fantastic editing, right? Ideation. He helps with the creativity. Obviously, we live together, so that helps. And then also now my clips guy, who's, again, phenomenal. We've been trying to push the socials. And I have to, of course, pay them. And of course, I have to, be cautious of the fact that I'm not just making content now to pay myself and to live. I've also got to make sure that they're good. And
it's a business now.
Absolutely. But I think the quality over quantity strategy that we've taken has been great because I don't feel the pressure of people expecting of me every single day. I've just been able to kind of like show up when I know I have something very big to say or I've got a really big opinion to put out, and then it's just allowed the videos to do a bit better. Do the travel stuff. With the Conference League, I thought it was going to be an absolute chore doing the Conference League. I ended up loving going to Kazakhstan, going to Sweden, going to Norway, doing
seeing new worlds, man.
Yeah, exactly. Doing the podcast, you know, and having guests
literally
on
branching out,
literally, yeah. And then also then doing the video when I went to Turkey and got breast surgery, bro. No one saw that coming, but I love shocking people, DG. I had my top off last summer. I said, yo, DG's always got his top off in the summer. He knows it's hot. Why can't I do it? I do it. People coming for me. I said, fuck this shit.
This guy, blood.
So I'm just enjoying it, man. Like on my channel, I'm enjoying it. And I am blessed to be able to live in London. I think that helps because in London, there's a lot of opportunity.
Definitely makes your life easier in terms of that.
Yeah, you go talk sport, you know yourself, DG, you go Sky Sports, you go DR, you go do shoot Sport Bible, you do all these things, brand deals. It helps from a financial standpoint, take the pressure off. So then it can just on the channel, just focus on creativity. Let's get this camera angle. Let's invest. Let's do this. So when it comes to my channel, I don't even think I've made a profit. Like in terms of the amount of money I've invested over the years, like I really don't care about that with my channel. I just want my channel to I just want to maximize and just push.
You love the game.
Yeah, I love it, bro. I said to people, like, I'll be doing this till I'm dead, bro. Like, I'm not retiring.
And that, do you know what? Sorry to cut you, but that is the most beautiful thing to hear with what anyone's doing in life, innit? Because obviously we have bills to pay. It is a job. We can't romanticize things to a point. But if you love what you're doing, you never work a day. And I think you've got the perfect balance of exploring like your more interview side, clearly doing the creative side, having a bit of fucking fun and poking fun at yourself or your club, depending on the situation. Obviously, just talking ball. So there's all of that. But as much as you're saying that, though, there had to have been a point where,
okay,
this is a hobby, I like it, and maybe not so much I could turn it into a career, but hold on, I've got a bit of a chance to turn this beyond just, I don't know, I'm working a normal 9 to 5, I'm making a video, and then I'm going about my business I could be doing this quote unquote every day. There must have been a point where it's like, boom.
Yeah, I think trying to pinpoint a moment, because I don't know if I've said this to you before, but I even when I was doing the show with you and Rants, I was always full time. So even back then when we were doing them shows, I was full time. And I wasn't making loads of money, but I was just I wasn't working. So this is what I was doing. I think the penny dropped with Big Six when we went out to New York, and we did that Fox special with them, and they did Six in, what did they call it? I can't remember, but it was a sick name for the show. We did that. We was on that. We did a couple features with them. They took us to Times Square. They filmed us going through Times Square, trying New York stuff. And I was just like, this is a bit ridiculous, isn't it?
Surreal.
I was like, yeah, this is a bit mad, isn't it? Like we're really making our US TV debut. Like being on TV in the UK is already mad enough, and then going over to America and being on TV there, and having all their film crew welcome us and kind of be on their set, go to their studio, do a show with them. So I think that was the moment where I was like, oh, okay, this might be more than I thought it was. But I always had a dream to get to 100K, get the plaque.
Yeah, just like with your old channel.
Third channel. Yeah, I've had this my third channel. So I've always kind of been aiming to go big. But yeah, I think that was the moment where I was like, oh, okay, we should lock in even more now.
It's a weird one. You know what? For me, what would I say? I'd say it's just after COVID, or better yet, during COVID. I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I can see the game kind of changing. Let me go on it. Because like yourself, I was working as well. I got